This video is about the craze for stereoscopy which swept through Victorian society and became one of the most popular forms of home entertainment. And if stereoscopy is something that's new to you, then this is what we're talking about. Here we have a stereo card, which is basically two images showing the same scene which are mounted side by side. However, when seen through a stereoscopic viewer, it will appear as a single three-dimensional image, and the illusion can be so vivid that the scene seems to physically materialize before you, with solid objects and people frozen in time. And for anyone who would like to experience this illusion for themselves, I'll end with a few tips to get you started. First though, I'd like to tell you a bit about how stereoscopy got started and came to capture the Victorian imagination. It's a story that starts right here in the Borough of Westminster, when Charles Wheatstone, a professor of experimental philosophy, introduced his new invention, the Wheatstone stereoscope, to the Royal Society at Somerset House in 1838. And in true Blue Peter style, I've mocked up my own version of Wheatstone's stereoscope to show you. Sadly, it's rather lacking in style and finesse, but hopefully it will give you a general idea of the setup. So two mirrors are placed at 90 degrees to each other, and the two images are mounted so each mirror is reflecting a separate image. If you then ensure that each eye is seeing a different image by looking through an eyepiece placed dead centre, then you will see these pictures resolve into a single image that appears to have depth and solidity. Now the magic here is really going on in your brain through something called binocular vision. This is our brain's ability to process the two separate images that we receive from each eye and perceive them as a single three-dimensional image. And it is precisely to demonstrate the nature of binocular vision that Wheatstone came up with his design. Now the crucial thing about Wheatstone's experiment is that the two pictures are very similar, but they're not identical. They've actually been drawn from two positions very slightly apart to mimic the distance between our two eyes. What Wheatstone was trying to show here is that it is by receiving these two different images that our brain is able to perceive depth in the world around us. The first images that Wheatstone used were outline drawings of geometric shapes, and these drawings required some skill to successfully accomplish. However, by a happy coincidence, it was also about this time that photography was being invented, and Wheatstone wrote to a Mr. Talbot, one of the inventors of photography, requesting him to supply photographs to use in his stereoscope. The combining of these two new technologies, stereoscopy and photography, would eventually cause a sensation, and the scenes that they produced were so vivid that they were described at the time as being like looking on reality itself. Not only that, but producing photographic stereographic images was a far quicker and simpler process than drawing them by hand. You just needed to take two photographs very slightly apart. This could be achieved by either shifting the camera horizontally between shots, or by having a camera set up with two lenses placed side by side to mimic the distance between our two eyes. The camera here is obviously a far more modern design, but it should give you a general idea of the setup. This happy convergence of technologies also opened up new commercial opportunities, and one person who was quick to capitalise on this was a rival of Wheatstone's called David Brewster. He had designed his own viewer, known as the Brewster lenticular stereoscope, which replaced the mirrors with lenses, and I have one here to show you. So as you can see, it's in the form of a box, and it's very portable and easy to set up. You slide a stereo card in here, then you open the lid and angle the mirror to direct the light on the image. Then you look through the lenses and adjust the focus. As well as being easy to use, Brewster's model was also much cheaper to produce. This was something that a well-off middle-class household could afford to buy as a piece of drawing or entertainment. Another big difference in Brewster's design is that it enabled the images to be mounted side by side on a single card. But the big event that really kick-started the craze for stereoscopy happened right here in Westminster in May 1851. It was the great exhibition that opened up in Hyde Park. It must have been a truly spectacular experience. Held in the vast and ornate Crystal Palace, it showcased the newest and most exciting technologies of the day, igniting the Victorians' insatiable enthusiasm for new invention. The demonstration of stereoscopes was one of the big crowd-drawing spectacles of the exhibition, and both Wheatstone's and Brewster's models were displayed. The Great Exhibition really marks the start of the craze in stereoscopy as a popular Victorian entertainment. The next breakthrough in the field of stereoscopy happened in America in 1861, when Oliver Wendell Holmes invented the Holmes stereoscope. It works along the same lines as the Brewster model by separating our vision of the two images mounted side by side. However, it was far simpler and cheaper to produce. Holmes was really a Renaissance man. As well as being a physician and celebrated humorist and poet, he was also a true stereoscope enthusiast, writing with tremendous zeal about the wonders of stereo viewing. He described the experience as inducing a dreamlike exaltation of the faculties, a kind of clairvoyance in which we seem to leave the body behind us and sail away into one strange scene after another, like disembodied spirits. Holmes was really on a mission to make the experience of stereo viewing affordable to everyone, and he deliberately never patented his design or tried to make any profit from it. This is by far the most common antique stereoscope that you will see today, because they were manufactured in such huge numbers. These were cheap enough for families on an ordinary household income to afford, and they really transformed stereo viewing from a middle-class drawing room entertainment into an art form for all to enjoy. Moving on now from stereoscopes to stereo cards. The industry for making and selling stereo cards flourished in Victorian Britain, with a number of manufacturers opening up around London. The most famous and successful of these companies was the London Stereoscopic Company, which opened at 313 Oxford Street in 1854. The company rapidly expanded and acquired new premises, including 108 Regent Street, shown in this photograph from our archives collection. In its heyday, this company traded globally, leading the market in stereoscopic products, and as the words above the door proudly proclaim, they counted royalty among their loyal customers. By all reports, Queen Victoria herself was an enthusiast and held a large collection of stereo cards. The company closed in 1922, however the name was resurrected in 2008 by Elena Vidal and Queen guitarist Brian May. As the market for stereo photographs grew, all sorts of divergent themes and genres emerged, and I'd like to show you a few examples. This is one of a series of stereo photographs that were taken at the International Exhibition in 1862. It was taken from the eastern dome looking down the nave, and the receding pattern on the innate cast-iron structure leading down to the rose window and the strong lines of perspective it creates look particularly effective when viewed in 3D. Tourist images of London were also popular. This one is titled Basket Carrier of Covent Garden. This was a popular attraction of the time. Market porters would carry stacks of produce on their heads and compete to see who could pile them the highest. This stereo card was published in the Illustrated London News, and I particularly like it because it shows the inside of a manufactory where the cards are actually being made, and you can see the stereo prints hanging up to dry. As you can see, they have taken the illusion of reality one step further here by colouring the photographs. These tinted stereo cards were really at the luxury end of the market, and they cost a lot more. Colour tinting was highly skilled, intricate work, and the best examples were often executed by miniature painters who had lost their former livelihood with the advent of photography. The French, however, really took the art of colouring stereo cards to a new level. Rather than painting colours on the front of the card, they hit on the idea of applying them to the back instead. These photos were mounted in a window-style frame instead of a solid back mount, and a layer of transparent tissue covered the back. These cards may look like ordinary black and white photographs from the front, but when you hold them up to the light, the colours come shining through. This use of light adds a lustre to the colours that you don't get from ordinary tinted or colour prints. Seen in a 3D viewer, it really enhances the effect of depth and makes the image so much more vivid. Another clever trick they devised was to make pinprick holes or slashes in the print where they wanted an object in the photograph to appear illuminated. In this photograph of Napoleon's chamber, you can see that they have used this technique to great effect to make the candles and crystal chandeliers sparkle, and also to suggest the reflection of light in the mirror and on the doors. Another example of this technique is from a series of French stereo cards known as the Diableries, which feature the devil and his skeletal minions engaged in a bewildering array of activities, in this case horse racing. These scenes were intricately crafted in clay and then photographed with a 3D camera. When you see one of these cards in a 3D viewer, what really jumps out at you are the demonic eyes glowing in luminous red or green. This was achieved by making pinprick holes and then applying a blob of coloured gel to the back of the photograph. Cards from this series are very collectible if they are in good condition, but sadly not this one. As you can see, it's pretty damaged. However, the torn tissue does allow me to show you the back of the card where it's been painted and the gel applied. The story of the Diableries is truly fascinating. They were considered dangerously subversive in their time, and their creators risked imprisonment if they were discovered. If you want to find out more, there's a brilliant book titled Diableries, published by the London Stereoscopic Company, which contains all 182 stereo cards in this series. Well, that's as far as I'm planning to take the story of stereoscopy in this video. However, I did promise at the start that if you wanted to experience stereo viewing for yourself, then I would give you some tips to get started. I have here a book from our library collection at the Archives, titled Poor Man's Picture Gallery. It's another publication from the London Stereoscopic Company, and it's a really mesmerising book, but I mainly wanted to show you the stereo viewer that comes with it, known as an OWL viewer. This is a very modern design of flat-pack stereoscope, and it's easily assembled by just folding and clicking into place. You can adjust the focus using this sliding mechanism. The really clever thing about this viewer is that you can use it to view stereo images in books by simply placing it on a page. Of course, if you have a stereo card, you can also just pop that into the viewer. So if you're new to stereoscopy and want to have a go, then this is a really good way in. You can get the viewers on their own or with the books, and for anyone who's interested, I'll include a link to the London Stereoscopic Company website in the description. Now, another method of simulating the effect of stereo viewing is an animation technique known as wiggle stereoscopy. So here we have our basket carriers again. I'm placing the two stereo images either side of the animated version so you can see how the effect changes your perception. Now, this isn't really the same as binocular vision because both your eyes are seeing the same image. It's just relying on the speed at which the images are alternating to simulate the effect. Obviously, there's a lot of jerkiness going on here, which is very different from the eerie stillness that you'll get from viewing 3D images with a stereoscope, but hopefully it will give you a small taste of the experience. The New York Public Library have a nice feature on their website called Stereogranimator, where you can actually try out this technique for yourself. They have a whole gallery of online stereographic images to choose from, and you can have a go at adjusting the alignment of the images and the speed of the animation in order to achieve the most effective results. So I'll put a link to that in the description. Finally, you can actually teach yourself to see stereo images in 3D without using any sort of viewer. It's a technique called free viewing. There's a 3D photographer and filmmaker called Andrew Brooks who has a great video tutorial on his website which teaches you how to do this, and he also has tutorials for anyone interested in shooting 3D photographs or films. If you're at all curious about modern 3D stereoscopy, then do take a look. There's some extraordinarily beautiful 3D landscapes on his website too. Well, that brings us to the end. I hope you enjoyed it. I wanted to make this video mainly because I feel there's something really very special about seeing images of the past in 3D, particularly when it's photographs of people. Seeing people from the past so solid before our eyes but frozen in time can be a very powerful and slightly eerie experience. If it's something you've not tried before, then I hope you'll give it a go. I've put many links in the description, so if any of this has sparked your interest, then I hope you will click on a few of them. It's an amazing subject and there's so much more to discover.